have depth characters. I love characters that have depth and complications that are not sort of so easily defined. I just think that they're more interesting to play. And I suppose darker characters tend to have a little bit more depth to them occasionally. But honestly, I also just simply like being a part of a greater whole. And whilst the character is an important aspect of what I do, because it is the function that I provide as an actor, I also just like being a part of something, a film that I'm excited about, and a story that I'm excited about telling, and the character is one part of that. You know? What was that? Oh, okay.
No, al ratito te pasamos el micro porque de plano sí se perdió todo a la distancia, perdón. Bueno, que es muy divertido representar villanos, sobre todo representar personajes con una personalidad un poco más oscura, que es divertido de explorar. Oye, es divertido explorar personajes con una mayor profundidad, con complicaciones que son un poco más complicadas de explicar, vaya. También le gusta mucho ser parte de una película, de historias que a él le llamen la atención, ¿no? Que esa cree que es la función principal que debe ser como actor, el sentirse, puede sentirse parte de algo que a él también le interese mucho.
¿Cómo fue tu experiencia, Elaya, filmando El Señor de los Anillos? Tengo entendido que lo filmaron en New Zealand. What was your experience filming The Lord of the Rings? I think it was in New Zealand. You filmed in New Zealand?
Yes. I mean, it was one of the greatest experiences of my life. You know, I think for all of us, it's unmatched in regards to the circumstances of the making of it. You know, none of us had ever left home for that length of time to work on a single film. I mean, obviously it was 3 films. We shot them all at once, so it really did feel like one massive thing that we were making. It is one big story. You know, it was an adventure unlike anything I'd ever experienced. It truly was an adventure. I fell in love with New Zealand. I made some of the best friends of my life. I was tasked with the portrayal of an important literary character that I certainly did not take that for granted. You know, and the circumstances around it too. I was 18 when we started principal photography in 1999. And I was 22 when we were finished. So there's a huge amount of growth. You know, those are years that typically one goes to university. And I went to New Zealand. It's just extraordinary. And then the filmmaking process as well, of at such a high creative level, of all of these people who believed in what we were making so much. That was so palpable. It's weird, you know, the scale of the movies are so huge. But it really did feel like the world's largest independent film. It felt very homegrown. There were thousands of people involved in the making of it, but it felt very intimate. It totally was, but it felt intimate. It felt small, and you know, like this cottage industry made in New Zealand, away from and away from Los Angeles or Hollywood or what one considers a studio film now. In a lot of ways, it's not to be replicated, because it was just very special at that time, to the point where when I went back to do a little bit on The Hobbit, everything had grown. There was suddenly, you know, sound stages that they built that were actually soundproof, because ours weren't. Ours, if it rained, it would you could hear the rain. Because it was a paint factory that they took over. So it was like, the way in which we made those movies was so built out of blood, sweat, tears, and passion in a way that, and shot on film, in a way that just it can't be replicated. So truly one of the best experiences of my life, and the fondest of memories, you know.
Hace poco nos enteramos, bueno, yo me enteré que eres DJ, en Hollywood. ¿En dónde tocas? ¿En bares? ¿En fiestas privadas? I know that you are DJ, music DJ. Tell us, please, something about that part of you. If you play in discotheques, private parties, pubs.
I mean, look, I've loved music all of my life, and been collecting music all of my life. And it's funny, it weirdly all started kind of in New Zealand. My first experience with a CD mixer, right, where you have two CD players connected to a mixer, playing one song crossfade into the next, was there in New Zealand. And I ended up actually, both Dominic Monaghan and myself would occasionally DJ bars that were we just knew the people because we were locals, you know? So we did that a couple of times, and I really enjoyed it. Just the idea of playing music that I love loud for people, just that idea. And I just kind of kept with it as a hobby on the side. CDs gave way to iPods, digital files, so I started playing with iPods and connecting the iPods to a mixer. And then eventually, I started playing with records and had sort of amassed enough of a collection to facilitate a relatively reasonably, diverse set of music. And I never looked back. And once I learned how to play with records and to operate turntables in that way and start learning how to mix, I fell in love with it and took it more seriously. And it's funny because it was always something that I did for fun with friends. And then it's a funny thing in life. You don't feel legitimized until somebody else points it out. Somebody else was like, "You're good at that, you should do that more." And I was like, "Oh shit, am I? I have no idea, I just do this for fun." So that made me take it more seriously. And I think also playing with records and eschewing digital files, it's a whole other thing because it's tactile, it's happening live. So many things can go wrong when you're playing with records. It's a turntable, it's a needle, like a million things can go wrong. And there's something kind of wonderful about that. So I love it. I've done little mini tours in Europe with my friend Zach, who I DJ with a lot. We've played events, we've played, small clubs. We've kind of done all kinds of different things.
Wood and Wisdom is your name as a DJ, right?
Yeah, with my friend Zach. When we DJ together, it's called Wood and Wisdom. Yeah.
Wow. You interact with hundreds of fans during signing and photo sessions. What's the most curious gift you have received at a convention?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I was at a convention and someone found a historic deed to a property from like the 1800s, signed by an Elijah Wood. And it was real. It was a real document. That was probably the most unique thing I've ever been given. So it was a deed to a home. I didn't get tickets to it. Yeah. Amazing. That was the most interesting thing. A deed to a house, a property that probably has long since been sold.
Please tell us about Wilfred. When I put your voice there, I saw it's a weird TV show, crazy but funny. Then it turns to like a drama, right?
Yeah, Wilfred. Wilfred's very special to me. Oh, cool. It was 4 years of my life working on this show. I had never been on a TV show like that before, or I never worked I'd guested on shows, right? I'd never been a lead actor on a TV show, so that was a new experience for me. And then to work on something so bizarre and unique and special and dark and funny and weird was it sort of spoke to all of my sensibilities. The Australian show that it's based on is fantastic, so if you've not seen the original, you should see it, it's great. Jason Gang created that as well, which was all based on a short film. So you should check the short film out. There's a short film called Wilfred that won this sort of, there's a short film festival in Australia that it won called Tropicana Fest or Tropic Fest? Trop Fest. Anyway, so he won that, ended up making the show. They did 3 seasons, I think, in Australia, and then ended up adapting it for the American market. So then I read it and then watched the original show and just instantly was in love with it. Its weird sensibility, its dark sense of humor, the sort of sense that this guy might have had a break from reality. So it also sort of deals with mental health in a really interesting way. Yeah, I just loved it. And Jason is so unbelievably brilliant. So to work with another actor who really drives that show and drives that character. And Ryan is sort of constantly on his back foot, you know, reacting to what sort of chaos Wilfred is throwing him into, or maybe he's putting himself through it. You know, who knows? Yeah, I love that show. I love it. It was so much fun.
Today, you all movie actors and we dubbing voice actors, we are fighting against artificial intelligence. What do you think about that, Elijah?
Oh, wow. It is, yeah, it's a broad subject. I mean, in so much as it infringes upon the work that we do as actors, you know, I think it's a bit scary. Certainly on the voice side of things, it feels like it could really change the landscape of voice acting and voiceover work. And it already is. I mean, I've already spoken to people who are in that world more than I am, who, you know, for commercial purposes are told, oh, you don't need to come in now because we've got this sort of voice that can handle it. I do believe that authenticity is going to become that much more important to people, I think. I think people are going to want to have a sense that what they're being given is authentic, and already there's a little bit of a backlash to AI existing, even within movies, in simple ways. You know, I think they used a little bit of it in The Brutalist. They've used it in a couple of other films. Totally fine, but there is immediately like, wait, there's a pushback against it, which is interesting. And I think when all is said and done, I think it's going to integrate into our lives in ways that we still don't know or understand. But I do think from an artistic standpoint and from a cultural standpoint, people are always going to want authenticity and know that the voice they're hearing, the actor they're witnessing is real and is being driven by a real person. That's my feeling and my hope. I certainly, listen, I think, you know, a complete AI character is fine and interesting, but I think you still will see that, at least now, with a degree of kind of understanding that that's something that's good. And I think, again, in the long term, people are going to want to know that the thing they're watching or listening to is real. Maybe that'll change. Who knows? We're about to experience a paradigm shift, and I think beyond this moment, it's really difficult to tell where it's going. Is that their performance is driven by choices that a person is making, and if it's sort of self-generated, it just takes the humanity out of the thing. And I think, you know, a voice actor is making choices, and those are his or her choices that they've made that are unique to that performance. And I think that's really important and should never be taken for granted.
Aprovechando que ahorita tenemos a Elijah Wood y pues, a Enzo en la voz de Frodo, podríamos recrear el grito ese de ¡Gandalf!
¡Wow! He was in here for this. Okay, vamos.
1, 2, 3.
¡Gandalf!
A ver, dijimos cosplay de
Frodo, a ver, a ver, por aquí, mira, aquí hay un... Ok, bueno, capo, ven.
Hola, estoy muy emocionada. Bueno, empezaste tu carrera desde que eras muy joven. Fuiste un niño. Entonces, la verdad, yo te admiro mucho porque nunca nos hemos enterado de que tengas vicios o que te hayas como que descarrilado, ¿no? Entonces, la verdad, ¿cómo hiciste eso, no? Para ser un niño sencillo, trabajador y que no hubieras caído en vicios. Y una pregunta rápida, ¿puedo darte un regalo rápido?
Okay. Do you want to translate that? Yeah?
Already
Okay.
done. Yeah, done.
Okay, good.
I mean, I think I honestly credit my mother. 100%. I wouldn't be the person that I am had it not been for the way that she raised me, and I think she really put an emphasis on humility and not sort of accepting special treatment and not sort of defining myself by, or allowing me to be defined by the work that I did or any kind of sense of status or any of that nonsense. So that was from a very, very young age. And by the time that I was sort of into my early adulthood, these were just sort of a part of my DNA of how to be as a human being and how to work and be professional on set. So yeah, the simplest answer is to say it's my mom gets 100% of that credit.
Esperamos producción, gracias.
My name is Ivan. Okay, I have seen some pictures on Instagram with you, Sean, Dominic, and Billy. I know you guys are very good friends, having dinner, having a good
Ojalá lo hagan
time.
bailar.
So I would like to know when was the last time the four of you and more members of the 9 members of the Fellowship of the Ring got together. I would like to know when was that, and could you tell us more about this experience? I know that when you finished filming the trilogy, you guys got a tattoo or something. Could you tell us more about that experience, please?
Sure.
Okay, love you.
Ok, ¿puedo hacer la pregunta en español para el público?
Sí, sí.
Okay.
Yeah, the last time that all of us got together, it's probably sometime last year. I mean, I see the other 3 pretty frequently. In fact, we're getting lunch on Friday. But the largest kind of group of us, as far as the fellowship is concerned, was probably sometime last year. It was either in Belgium or in Liverpool. In Liverpool, there was Andy Serkis, the 4 Hobbits. I think Miranda Otto may have been there, and wow, Orlando. So that was probably the biggest grouping of us that we'd had in a long time, and it was sadly around. It was the day or 2 after Bernard Hill had passed away, which was super sad. He was supposed to be with us in Liverpool, so that was really sad. But yeah, we haven't done like a big reunion, surprisingly, really in celebration of any of our anniversaries, which seems a shame. So one of these years we must all kind of get together. It would be nice. And what was the other part of your question?
If you got
the tattoo.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a fellowship tattoo. It's the word 9 written out in Elvish, and all of us have it, and most of us got it at the same time. I think Sean Bean wasn't in town. That was the only one who was missing. Anyway, we went to a tattoo shop in Wellington and got them. Each sort of chose where they wanted to have it on their body. I think one of the hobbits has it on their foot. I have mine on my hip. People have it on their arms. But it was a way to kind of bond this experience that we'd had and shared together over the course of at this point would have been principal photography, so 16 months. It was a very special experience, and it felt like if we were going to get a tattoo, this would be the thing to get a tattoo for. So, yeah.
But for you, it's a little present.
Cuidado, cuidado, por favor. Manténganse en sus lugares, muchas gracias. Gracias.
Will wear wigs. In fact, there's a movie called Toxic Avenger that's coming out later this year, and I wear a wig in that. So, guys, thank you so much. It's been so wonderful.